What up? Okay, that needs to stop. Welcome to La Historia, the show where it's only the third episode and I get to talk about Carthage! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Algeria. So, Algeria, country number 3. Since about 4000 BCE, the inhabitants of North Africa, Algeria included, have been known as the Berbers, or they prefer the term Imazighin, because Berbers is a derogatory term derived from the word barbarian, which, by the way, quick side note on the word barbarian, it originally came from ancient Greece and Rome, where they basically described anyone who didn't speak Greek or Latin as a barbarian, because, you know, everyone else sounded like blah blah blah, bar. To them. So, really, it doesn't mean anyone uncivilized. It means somebody who doesn't speak Greek. Anyway, the Berbers are a group of people who have successfully resisted everyone from the Phoenicians to the Romans to the Spanish to the French. It's a nation that finally succumbed to Islam in the 7th century CE, but we will get to that. Algeria gets its name from its capital, Algiers, which is a city that the French first decided to give its name to when they colonized it in 1830. The city's name in Arabic is Al-Jazair, literally meaning the islands, in reference to 4 islands that remained off coast until it became part of Algeria. Another quick side note, Algeria is often called the Maghreb, so we will be saying the word the Maghreb multiple times throughout this episode. So starting things off, this place is old, to the point where 1.8 million year old Aldewan stone tools were discovered in Algeria by archaeologists in 1992, found in Al Hanik. C. Arambor discovered 700,000 year old Homo erectus bones at Terrafine, and we had a Neolithic civilization develop in the Maghreb near the Sahara Desert and the Mediterranean Sea between 6000 and 2000 BCE. There was even an economy depicted in Tassili Niger cave paintings, and it's very doubtful that the early Berbers had a written language. Now, we get to Carthage. Carthage is one of my favorite ancient civilizations. I am so unbelievably upset that we don't know more about this civilization, and I'm gonna talk a bit about them because I won't realistically be able to talk about them until Morocco, and I won't be able to dive deep until frickin' Tunisia, so leave me alone, people. So around 900 BCE, Phoenician traders from what is now Tunisia arrived in Algeria. During this time, agriculture, manufacturing, trade, and political organization grew, supporting several states. Trade links between the Carthaginian and the Berbers grew, but so did expansive and aggressive military engagements, which resulted in enslavement, recruit, and even tribute paying by a lot of Berber groups. Carthage was destroyed after the Punic Wars and finally in 146 BCE by the freaking Romans. The Berbers managed to survive the whole ordeal because they were over there like, you know what, they were nice to trade with, but that guy crossed the Alps with elephants and like, we don't want to mess with them. In the 2nd century BCE, loosely organized Berber kingdoms emerged with King Massinissa ruling a lot of them. In between the years 12 and 3 BCE, we had King Madgasen until the territory was annexed in 24 CE by the Romans under Emperor Tiberius. Say it with me, frickin' Romans. Then in the 2nd century CE, Christianity came in, and by the 4th century CE, all of the Maghreb was pretty much Christianized. Now we come into the Middle Ages, and I have 3 words for you. This is complicated. The Berbers divided into 2 main branches, both from an ancestor known as Mazig. The groups were called Boter and Barnez, or Barnes, and honestly you guys, I'm gonna read these tribes off my phone because there are way too many to memorize. Larger Berber tribes, the Sanhaja, Juarez, Zenata, Masmuda, Kutama, Awarba, Bargawat, and even more. Several Berber dynasties emerged all over the place. Here's a list. Some of these Berber dynasties were, and this is from a table made by Ibn Khaldun, the Zirid, the Banu Ifrin, the Magwara, Almoravid, Hammadid, Almohad Caliphate, the Marinid, the Zionid, the Watazid, the Mechnids, and the Hassavid dynasty. Wow, a lot of freaking kingdoms, as you can see. Just had to shout them all out, just rapid fire. Now, here come the 8th century CE, and between the 8th and 11th century CE, here come the Muslims, the Umayyad Caliphate to be specific. This new religion and the Arabic language that followed introduced a new climate of social change that had powerful social and economic links to the Muslim world in modern-day Saudi Arabia, and provide a powerful idiom of political discourse and organization. After the Umayyads were the succeeding Abbasid caliphates that came from Persia, basically. After that came the Almoravid movement, and Almoravid means those who have made a religious retreat. This developed in the 11th century CE among the Sanhaja Berbers of like modern-day Morocco and Algeria. Almohads, or utilitarians, took over after that. They took control of Morocco in 1146, Algiers by 1151, and the whole of the central Maghreb by 1160 CE. Fast forwarding a little bit, after the 700-year-long Christian reconquest of Spain, ending in 1492 with the fall of Granada and the Spanish Inquisition, the Christian Spanish decided at the time to leave Algeria alone under Muslim control. As long as they had out of Spain, I guess they were fine. Some years passed by, the Spanish got all big-headed after their boy Columbus discovered America, and they were like, we are coming for you. I'm so sorry I had to do that. They did end up succeeding in occupying some cities like Mers al-Kabir, Oran, Algiers, and Bujia. They left these areas in 1529, 1554, and later 1708. They returned in 1732 and won in the Battle of Ain el-Turk and retook Oran and Mers al-Kabir. Jumping back a little bit to 1515, during this whole Spanish mess came the Ottomans, previously discussed in the last episode. Albania, these were a very famous empire originally from Turkey, ruling out of Istanbul, Byzantium, or Constantinople. Algiers, which was the capital, was called Dey at the time, just Dey. The European colonial powers ended up paying tribute to the Ottoman occupiers of North Africa. Algiers ended up fighting wars with a lot of European powers such as Spain, Denmark, the Netherlands, Prussia, Russia, and Naples. Fast forward to 1830, and Algeria gets a lot more, oh, mon chéri, I see you have a nice fertile coast there. I will come and make some bread. Once again, I am so sorry. Anyway, the French came over and created the borders of modern-day Algeria. Well, less created the borders and more stole the ideas from Italian, Spanish, and Maltese colonists. The city of Constantine in the eastern part of Algeria held off the French for 7 years, but eventually fell, with Muslim leader Abd al-Kabir declaring a jihad or holy war against the French in 1839, but he finally surrendered in 1847. During the French occupation, the Muslim population increased drastically from 3 to 9 million, but even still, the Algerians tried to persevere and do things the right way. Early Algerian nationalists decided that integration of the French occupiers would be better than just straight up kicking them out. Ferhat Abbas, who was a future political leader, wrote, "Algeria is French soil and we are French Muslims," in 1931. In 1936, the French socialist government of Léon Blum saw the force of Ferhat Abbas's argument. The so-called Blum-Violet plan proposed that 21,000 Muslims should immediately integrate into French society and have the same voting rights as each French citizen. This provoked an outcry from the French settlers in Algeria, naturally. The proposal is dropped and they couldn't do much more organizing because here comes World War II. And Algeria ended up fighting with the French because they were so inextricably tied by that point. Anyway, finally in 1954, an Algerian war for independence broke out. It lasted 8 brutal years till 1962, in which an estimated 350,000 to 1 million Algerians died, with an estimated 70,000 Muslim civilians. I don't have the exact figures on the French casualties, but if I find them while editing, I will put them here on the screen or in the description. Algeria finally won its independence in '62, but it went through many tumultuous political changes with normalization, switching many parliaments and governments and a whole bunch of things, and even had a civil war from 1991 to 2002. To kind of wrap things up here, Algeria was our introduction to Africa, and specifically to North Africa. I'm so glad we got to enter North Africa and even, once again, discuss Carthage a little bit in this episode. As I said at the very start, if you want to look at people who resisted and still managed to keep their culture, you look no further than Algeria. Everybody from the Phoenicians to the Romans to the Greeks to the Spaniards to the French. Yes, they fell to the Muslims kind of early on, all things considering, but they integrated Islam into their own culture and ended up banishing the Muslim rulers, and they fell weak because of Algeria. With its inextricable ties to now France, it still managed to keep its North African Berber or Amazigan culture alive. Okay, so a brief announcement about the future of this channel. Yeah, we're already on the 3rd episode and I'm doing this. So, at the very beginning in the Afghanistan episode, I said I wanted to do like Paul B and Geography Now and do each and every country in the UN by alphabetical order, but just doing their history. I've decided to already turn back on that. I still want to do every country, or at least I want to do most of them, but I'm gonna do them in random order every week. Every week, I am, at the end of each episode, I'm going to use this random country generator website, which I will link in the description of each video. I'm going to screen record my randomization, and I'm going to do that country, provided it is a member state of the United Nations and not a territory of another country. So, for example, St. Martin will not be an episode. I look up to, but I mostly respect Geography Now, especially that Paul B seems to be in my age group, and the fact that he's doing what he's doing, how he's doing it, fills me with respect for the guy, and I kind of want to go down the same road, but specifically in my passion of history. But the two main reasons I'm not gonna do alphabetical order is, number one, I don't want to copy the guy. I don't want to seem like I'm copying the guy. And number two, but most importantly, is I feel like I'm gonna get bored with the alphabetical style. I feel like I'm just gonna go through some countries that I may not care about, or some audience members may not care about. And I feel like doing a random country every week will add a new level of excitement to the show. If I ever build up an audience for them, but most importantly, at least for right now, for me. I'll have more fun if I do that. Who knows what next week will bring? There's always a level of excitement no matter what now. So, without further ado, right now I'm on the Heard and McDonnell Islands, which is territory of Australia and New Zealand. So I'm about to hit rerun. Here we go. The next country will be the Dominican Republic. I'll see you then.